collective data.
South Australia is on high alert after the state's first confirmed coronavirus outbreak since April. 18 confirmed cases have been reported, leading to new restrictions and ramped up testing. Talks on a future trading relationship between the UK and EU post-Brexit continue this week as the clock ticks until the end of the transition period. Lord Frost is in Brussels for another round of negotiations ahead of a European Council video summit on Thursday, which has been touted as a possible deadline for a draft deal. Lucy Hoff reports from Brussels.
This is being billed as a crunch week for the negotiations, which have stalled on three major stumbling blocks: fishing rights, how any deal would be enforced, and the level playing field, the UK's willingness to sign up to EU rules on state aid, environment and labour standards. The two teams are meeting again in Brussels this week with a slightly more positive assessment at the end of last week's round of talks in London. There is a sense from the EU side that the UK is becoming slightly more open to compromise in some of the key areas. The election of Joe Biden to the White House and the departure of Boris Johnson's key Brexiteer aide, Dominic Cummings, puts more pressure on the UK Prime Minister to reach a deal with just days remaining. Lucy Hoff, Brussels.
Hong Kong's Chief Executive Carrie Lam is calling for a full investigation after the city's deadliest fire in almost a decade. 7 people, including a 9-year-old child, were killed when a fire broke out in a flat. Richard Kimber reports from Hong Kong.
Police say they are investigating whether the flat in the Kowloon area of the city was operating as an unlicensed restaurant. Local media, quoting an unnamed police source, say the apartment was being used as a Nepalese restaurant at which a birthday party was being held, and that lit candles are thought to have started the blaze. Fire officers said the building had no firefighting systems installed. Paramedics rushed 18 people to hospital late on Sunday night. 7 people remain in a critical condition, with 2 more in a serious condition. In 2011, 9 people were killed and 34 injured in a fire in a nearby area of the city. It was the deadliest blaze in the city in 15 years.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go!
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't? Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this! You will rock this!
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely
can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Monday, November 16th. We're your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, how was your weekend?
It was actually not too bad. I did work on Saturday, so really only had the one day, which was yesterday. Got caught up on a couple of things since I was allowed to go out in public, and got to watch some. I wouldn't say it was a good day for football. It was kind of one of those really awful days for a lot of teams. So especially someone like a Broncos fan like us, wasn't exactly a lot of fun. But if you were a Raiders fan or a Patriot fan, you know, there was some wins last night that you know, I mean, I kind of thought the Raiders would win. The Broncos are not very good.
No.
But I did not expect a shellacking like we got. So
Yeah, it was not pretty, but you know what? We'll call it a rebuilding year. Hopefully we'll get a high draft pick in the next set of drafts, and then maybe come back next year with a slightly better chance of actually winning some games.
They could leave Coach Fangio out too. I'm good with that.
I agree.
I'm stating that in public forum. I'm done with our coach. I've seen all I've wanted to see. It's kind of like a relationship. You get to that point where you're just like, you know, I'm just good now. I don't need to see anymore. We're good. We're good here.
It's funny you bring up relationships. So we're going to kick things off the way we do each and every day with a question for my co-host. Tony, have you ever screwed up a relationship so bad that you wish you could just go back in time and fix it?
Well, yeah, you kind of do, but then you have to realization, put yourself where you are. But this is where the you can't really go back. Oh gosh, okay, train of thought. Wow. Focus. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things I take from my marriage that I screwed up on, and I've learned from them. I wish I knew what I know now. I knew then, and I could have made that a stronger, probably better marriage. But then again, would I be where I'm at today? Probably not. So everything works the way, but definitely you have to learn and acknowledge that where you've made your mistakes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, once you've made them, there's not much you can do about it.
You can't undo. Yeah.
Unless you're this guy. A Russian bride-to-be was found dead 5,500 miles from home.
Yikes.
Investigators would soon learn Anna Repkina was unwittingly caught in a love triangle and that her fiance frantically researched time travel after her death, writing to strangers on WhatsApp. Best friend made a mistake. I want to go back to keep from losing the woman that should be my wife. In 2016... Repkina was a 26-year-old Moscow native who loved rock music and cats and had a fun sense of humor. She had recently gone through a breakup with her boyfriend of 7 years. In search of love,
what's her favorite movie? Back to the Future?
I don't know about hers,
Time
but
Traveler?
His might have been.
I guess the guys.
Yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine. In search of love, she decided to join some online dating sites. She thought she'd found what she was looking for when she met William Hargrove, a 26-year-old Oregonian who happened to have an affinity for all things Russian. Their online relationship quickly took off, and Repkina decided to fly to the United States to meet her new love interest in person and spend the Christmas holidays with him in Oregon. Why did I say Oregon? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, because everything was like both Estonian and Moscowian and Mandalorian.
After a whirlwind 10-day trip, Repkina returned to Russia with a souvenir, an engagement ring from Hargrove. She made plans to pack up her life in Russia, move to Oregon, and plan her wedding. What Repkina wasn't planning on was meeting Hargrove's secret girlfriend.
Secret lover.
Number of things happened. Obviously, she passed away, but in the days after Repkina's death, Hargrove exhibited some peculiar... God, words are hard this morning.
That's hard article with names, man.
Exhibited some rather peculiar behavior. Hargrove went on a bizarre internet deep dive. He is researching time travel, said Detective Chris Dale. He saved screenshots of web pages that show how to do a particular spell to travel back in time. And we all see communication through WhatsApp in which he's trying to ask for help in how to travel back in time. Hargrove said he wanted to correct a horrible mistake that his best friend made. He was so desperate to get this information on time travel that he offered his soul as a reward to strangers on the internet who might be able to help him. Oh, wow.
Wow. That one, by far, is the absolute best story we've kicked off any of the shows. This was wild. Sir, all you need is
1.21 gigawatts,
and then you could time travel.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it easy. All you have to do is meet a guy named Doc Brown, and then get a DeLorean.
Get up to 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, you need some grade A plutonium, and just make sure you don't cross the
Libyans.
The Libyans, and you'll be fine. Wow, what a crazy story.
Yeah.
And those names, man, you kept saying like Rakina Matata or Rikishi and Harbaugh and Oregon and in Moscow in my country. What I do is I go back in time. Best friend kill bitch. I go back and no big deal. I scratch itch. I fix things. My soul is online on Reddit. You could follow me on Twitch. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, this had a mad lib of everything from time travel to selling your soul to Russian brides. It's crazy that this is actually real life.
Right. How do I follow that with my segment? I mean, that legit was just a wild ride, like Mr. Toad's.
Well, you know what? That just goes to show the quality of programming that we have for you today. It's a wonderful show. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
Briefly, I hate Mondays. Hate them. Therefore, I decree from this day forward, there will be no more Mondays.
As we do on
Thank
Mondays.
God, could there be no more Mondays? That'd be rad.
Oh, that would be great. But since there is Mondays, we got to do this show. And as we do on Mondays, we've got Silly Rabbit. This bit is for kids. We have a segment called I've Got a Bad Feeling About This. Our call-in topic today is in real-life celebrity encounters. We have another edition of Whatever Happened to the Cast of. Well, you got to stay tuned to find out who we're talking about. We have This Day in History, and up next, Tony is here with the entertainment news. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? that it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take, you would of course prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Monday, November 16th. Now we have a little thing called the Fenix Line. It is a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe you sold your soul to go back in time to save your Russian mail-order bride from being murdered. You never know. You can call and leave us a message on the Fenix Line. That number, 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together and put them out in a future show. Now, speaking of entertaining, Tony is here with the entertainment news.
Good morning, everybody. Now, before I get into the Filippo Fast Five, so that sound bite that always rolls us into the entertainment news, my niece Annabella sent me a trailer for one of her cool action spy movie with her and her brother Anders. And when that sound kicked off, I was like, is it entertainment too? Is it entertainment news time? I had no idea that was the intro for one of the Apple trailers.
Is it really? All right.
That's where that sound came from. Yeah, because I was like, oh, it's time for entertainment news. But great trailer, sweetie. By the way, I know you're watching. Or maybe you should be watching because you should be doing remote learning. Anyways, I digress. It's the Filippo Fast Five for a Monday, November 16th. Wedding Crasher sequel is in the works. Vince Vaughn, during his junket for his new movie Freaky, confirmed that Owen Wilson and himself are set to return. No details for the plot has been given or cast, but other than he has confirmed that they are coming back to crash some more weddings. My only hope is Will Ferrell's back to crash some more
funerals.
Some funerals. And I hope his ma is still making meatloaf. So great movie. I don't know how well a sequel is gonna be. It doesn't, but I like the dynamic of Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. So this could be pretty entertaining. So we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, hey, it's not the worst idea for a sequel. That's for sure.
That's true.
It looks like the man who pulled Sylvester Stallone. This is where it'd be really great if Ryan was still on the show. He does a bitchin' Stallone voice.
Yep.
So the same man that's bringing Sylvester Stallone into the MCU is doing the same thing for the DCEU. Sly himself revealed via a since-deleted Instagram video that he is on his way to do a little work on James Gunn's highly anticipated The Suicide Squad. No word yet on what role he might entail, but given the fact that the filming officially wrapped in February and that Stallone and his post claim to have already seen the film, one can assume it's a tiny part similar to what he did in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Stallone, you spoiled it, buddy. And I spoiled it here.
Yeah, that's all right.
Hey, yo, what you doing? Be on the Suicide Squad. Right? This is what I do. I talk to Harley Quinn. It's not near as good as Ryan's, but there you go. That was my crappy on the fly Stallone impersonation.
It was passable.
Yeah, it was better than sometimes it can be because he can be really bad. What's not bad is the cast of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunited for an HBO Max special a couple months ago to celebrate the series' 30th anniversary. Now that reunion has a release date and a trailer courtesy of Fresh Prince himself, Will Smith. On Friday, Will Smith dropped the trailer and addressed on his Instagram page the news that Fresh Prince Bel-Air reunion will premiere this week in just 3 days on HBO Max, November 19th. The trailer is really cool. It's got the cast, obviously, except James Avery, who played Uncle Phil. He's passed away. He's also the voice of Shredder.
Yeah, he was.
Cool to learn. But they do celebrate him on the show or on this reunion, so that's good. And then I wish they wouldn't have spoiled it, so I'm going to spoil it again for you. There's both Aunt Vivs are there, and they're going to explain why one Aunt Viv left, and they replaced her with another Aunt Viv. But it was cool to see them both with Will, and I really like that show, so I'm quite excited to see the reunion special. I don't anticipate it to be the greatest thing in the world, but for it to get its own special on HBO Max, again, this is the streaming network I was making fun of in May. They're putting out some really good stuff. So
finally, they are. Yeah.
Finally, yeah. It's finally getting the bugs worked out, which is nice. Yep. So something you'd probably be watching.
Oh, most definitely.
All right, cool. One show I don't know if you've watched. I watched a couple episodes and I wasn't quite hooked, but Space Force on Netflix.
Same
it didn't
here.
receive the best reviews upon its release this year, but that's not stopping Netflix from renewing the comedy series for a second season. Production on the second season of Space Force, which was created by Greg Daniels and Steve Carell, is expected to kick off in Vancouver next year. Did you watch this show?
I got, again, about halfway through. It had some funny stuff, but at the same time, it wasn't great.
Yeah, it didn't grip me. Now, there was a couple of things that seemed like a home run for me. Steve Carell, Greg Daniels. You're taking the elements of The Office and you're putting it in space. You're setting it in a fictional town in Colorado. You got Lisa Kudrow in there. So you got some heavy hitters and some great writers. But I feel the same way as you. Nothing gripped me enough to want to go back. It's one of those shows where I watched it and I go, oh, that's cool. And then I looked at a shiny object and I never went back. So, but kudos if you are a fan watching the show and you liked Space Force. Well, it's coming back, so that's a good thing. And
there you go.
Sometimes the second season finds its wheels. So, sometimes because The Office was like that for me. The first season wasn't the greatest. It was okay. And then it got really funny. And they got really bad. But
what's funny is I find that to be the case with most Greg Daniels shows. So The Office, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn
Parks and Rec,
Nine-Nine.
yeah, the first season was rough to get through. A couple of that was.
Yeah. But second season is where they start to take off. So maybe that'll be the case here.
Yeah, hopefully. And lastly, in the Filippo Fast Five, it's really taken up the whole segment, hasn't it? Jeez, because I've stretched them. I don't even know if I should call them Fast Fives anymore. The astronauts sent off to Space Station X on a rocket for a mission to the International Space Station. NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins, Shannon Walker, Victor Glover, and Japanese astronaut Soichi Noguchi reached orbit after a 12-minute ride to space yesterday. The crewed flight is the second for SpaceX Dragon's capsule and the first since NASA officially certified the small spacecraft. I said crap. I didn't mean to. To carry people. I love this in a world like right now in 2020 where everything's so doom and gloom and everything's so political and all that sad stuff. To still think that people are still wanting to explore space, we're still putting together programs, and the fact that NASA, has found a way to get their name in on that, because there's still dreamers that want to go out there and find it, and I find that really fascinating. Very cool.
Not only that, but SpaceX, they're actively trying to get people back to the moon, and then obviously from there get people to Mars, which could potentially happen in our lifetime, which would be amazing to see.
It would. And I mean, I'm sorry, guys, that was your Filippo Fast Five, but I really stretch it. And I really have a ton of things to talk about today. So we're just going to make this one big, lumpy, exciting thing. It's flowing nicely, I feel.
It's all right.
The box office, as we know, has come back to life kind of this weekend, as we have a new movie that is the tops. And I'm going to ask you here in a second if I can get my page to load. I just jinxed it and said everything was flowing nicely. Well, I can't get it to load right this second, but Freaky, the new Vince Vaughn movie from the director of Happy Death Day, has taken the #1 spot at the box office to the surprise of no one. I mean, that movie is brand spanking new. Basically, the premise of it is Vince Vaughn is a serial killer, and he goes to he has this knife, and he goes to kill this girl. And then it's like a Freaky Friday thing. They swap, and then he becomes the girl, and the girl's stuck in the killer, and comedy horror. While I get this page to load to tell you how much it made, why don't you tell us a quick little review on it since you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it over the weekend. It was a lot of fun. At first was a little confused why they didn't release it before Halloween, because obviously it fits into there very well. Well, you come to find out that it was released on Friday the 13th. It is a play on Freaky Friday, so you got Freaky Friday the 13th, but it's more Christopher Landon fun. You know, Christopher Landon did Happy Death Day to You, taking these sort of classic movie tropes and then twisting them to a horror theme, and you've got that perfect mix of comedy and horror, and Vince Vaughn being Vince Vaughn, which is what more could you ask for? So had a lot of fun at the movie. It's it's not an Oscar nom type movie, but it's a lot of fun to just go out and watch something mindless for about 2 hours.
That is awesome. So what we'll do is I'll tell you it made 3.7. So that's good. I mean, it's not a lot of money it brings in, but keeping these I think it's AMC and Cinemark, trying to keep what's left. Regal already bailed, but and there's still Alamo out there. We want to make sure that these don't die, so this is good. To round out the top 10, Let Him Go brought in 1.8. The War with Grandpa still kicking at number 3. Come Play, number 4. Honest Thief, number 5. Tenet, number 6. Guardians of the Galaxy popped back in there, number 7. True to the Game 2, Christian's favorite movie, number 8. Toy Story, number 9. And Santa, I Know Him, Elf is number 10. That's your box office report. And you know what? That is going to be today's entertainment report. We got to roll on into the birthdays. It's my birthday! Oh, man, this was yesterday's birthday, but I got to add him in there.
Yeah, you gotta get in your grandstanding and your hot dogging, don't you? Yeah.
Yes, we do. The Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. Birthday yesterday. Oh yeah, would have. I don't know how old he would have been, but it was his birthday. Happy heavenly birthday, Randy. Look at this photograph. This rock star is an animal, and he likes the way your pants look around your feet. Mr. Nickelback Chad Kroeger is 46. Here's the story of a popular Colorado Rocky. Number 27, Trevor Story, is now 28. The non-funny guy and probably one of our least favorite comedians on this show. He texted some girl named Kazzy Davis to break up with her. Pete Davidson, he's 26. My realtor Annie Schneider's doppelganger, Missy Pyle, is 47. The man who made Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Donkey Kong, and we might as well call Mr. Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, is 67. I'm sure I flipped out his name. Rachel Dawes, a.k.a. Jake Gyllenhaal's sister Maggie, is 42. Rob Zombie guitarist Piggy D is 44. And no big deal, sexy white teeth. Oh, wait. This is a ripoff dude. Juan Pablo Gil, have no idea who he is. I just wanted to do a Juan Pablo, is 33. Those are your birthdays for November 16th. Happy birthday. Awesome entertainment segment. See you after the break.
Folks, when we come back, it is Monday. We do Silly Rabbit. This bit is for kids, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But
2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Indeed. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Monday, November 16th. Now, we are all over social media with many of you watching us right now on Facebook Live or YouTube Live as we speak. Now, if you want to get a hold of me on social media, I'm available at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Phoenix with an F, Radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Phoenix Media Radio. Tony's available at facebook.com/Tony.Sanfilippo. That's SANFILIPPO.94, or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, being that it's Monday, and as we do on Mondays, Tony is here to take us through Silly Rabbit. This bit is for kids.
It's always good, you know, like I gotta be careful not to vamp too much on this. I'll eat up the whole segment like I did the last one. Could I talk? But this segment, is called Silly Rabbit. This bit's for kids. And, you know, kids have a knack for asking truly unique questions. Kristian, I know you got your two boys. I'm sure they asked you the most random stuff. And you're just like, I'm sure you give them smart, witty answers as well. So I'm sure you can get creative. Well, today's topic is going to be just that. It's no surprise that some of these parents were asked some unique questions and they had some witty responses. So let's go ahead here and I'll share a few of silly questions kids have asked their parents.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Allie here. My kids asked me, what I used to play on my iPad when I was a kid. And I told them I used to let Elmer's glue dry on my hands and peel it off for fun. They then stared at me blankly.
It's funny because we've all done it. We've all been there and done that. But I love the videos where they take kids that are, anywhere from 7 to, 13, 14, 15, and they put like a Game Boy in their hand and just let them try and figure it out.
Oh, yeah. I love those types of videos. Or the ones where one of my favorite ones was the kids, they threw kids listen to Motley Crue and they're like, what is this?
Right.
Like, who is this? And sometimes you get like one kid that's like, I like it. It's just pretty cool to see, because it's stuff like we know about it, but obviously their little minds, they don't. Yeah. So,
and then they've always had iPads and iPhones and things like that.
Oh yeah, could
Not
you
us.
imagine the technology we have today, man? That makes that Game Boy look like a big pile of crap. That's for sure. Yeah. Although the Game Boy was great. It was wonderful for the time.
Oh, so
maybe
fun.
that 2020, but it was some good stuff. James Breakwell, aka the Exploding Unicorn. My 3-year-old daughter asked, if I eat a leprechaun, will my poop turn green? That mystery will keep me awake tonight.
I don't know about a leprechaun, but if you eat a whole bunch of tricks, which obviously the segment is named after, yes, your poop will turn green.
Yeah, it's rainbow colored. Confirmed as my sister did as a kid. I'm going to embarrass her right now. When we were little kids, we were at the Topaz Canal, and she took a dookie, and we always call it the infamous rainbow turd. It was great. Still remember it. We were kids, but that's something I still like to tease her in front of her wife. Hey, remember that time you pulled a unicorn and you pooped, I obviously cussed, but you pooped out a rainbow log there. Good stuff.
Gotta love artificial colors added to foods.
Got it, man. Yeah, but I totally remember that as a kid. It was wild because I'm like, well, mine doesn't look like that. This one's actually, believe it or not, on the list. Ryan Reynolds, the Ryan Reynolds, that you can follow on Twitter at Fan City Reynolds, which you totally should. He's totally
He's hilarious.
Follow. But on our 6 a.m. walk, my daughter asked where the moon goes each morning. I let her know it's in heaven visiting Daddy's freedom. Like he's giving it a serious answer, only to say visiting Daddy's freedom.
Leave it up to Ryan Reynolds to start going down one road and then taking a sharp right turn.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Sarah says, stop. My daughter asked me if cheese is a vegetable. So, yeah, she's an optimist.
Yeah. Cheese is one of the important food groups, along with the sugar group and the bread group and the meat group.
And why is it that all the stuff that's so damn good is the stuff that's really not the best for you? Although there could be worse things than cheese. I love cheese. So.
Oh, I do too.
Now, certain cheese. If it's Kraft cheese, no.
That's not cheese.
No, that stuff's
That's
bad.
edible plastic.
Yeah. Some of these names. Hey, Jesse on Twitter says, my 4-year-old asked me if I'd fit in a trunk, and suddenly being put in a nursing home doesn't sound so bad.
What size is the trunk, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, I know. I don't see. That's kind of the sad thing. They don't ask the kids what they mean. They just take it whatever is asked of them, and then that's their sarcastic response. We got Simon Holland here on Twitter who says, my daughter asked me what marriage was like, and I nodded. And I said, that sounded great. Then she asked me if I was even listening. That's actually a good response to something if you want to get out of an awkward question your kid asked you, or you just want to be silly. What is life? Mm-hmm.
Well, not only that, but that is the perfect response for how is marriage? Because most of it is, yeah, yep, that's great.
Oh, yeah, sorry, babe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I used to get in trouble when I was married, but like she'd vent about a day or something, and that was the thing. Oh, that sucks. Oh, yeah. Are you listening, or are you playing Call of Duty?
Both. I can do both. I can multitask.
Get the package! What? Okay, I digress. Jennifer Liza and Twitter says, my 4-year-old asked why we are the only people who live in our house, and now I'm nervous I'm in a horror movie.
Well, we found out that we have our squatter Jeff, who lives up in the attic and apparently sings Beach Boy songs, because when I'm not around, Jessie randomly hears Beach Boy songs. I think she's having a little too much cabin fever with this whole COVID lockdown, working from home, and she won't leave the house for days at a time. So.
She's in there with the rabbits. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice?
And
wouldn't it be nice?
And our attic squatter Jeff. My name's Jeff.
Oh yeah, that'd be good if I had that button handy. I always usually do, because it's my favorite soundbite.
My name's Jeff.
Rachel Sobel here on Twitter. My daughter just asked me if my boobs were ever round. In case you're wondering about some of the ways motherhood crushes your soul. So they're probably like hot dogs now, you know?
Right.
Like,
Flapjacks.
It's just stretched them down.
Flapjacks.
Mommy, were they ever round?
Knee knockers. Oh, so many names for them.
Poor Rachel. And hers is actually kind of funny. Wine and Cheez-Its at Twitter. Seeks says, Love Shack just came on, and my son asked, is that John Mulaney? I'm crying.
I assume it's the comedian John Mulaney. And he does sound a lot like, what's his name from...
They must have seen the video to ask that. Like, I don't think you just listen.
Right.
Or unless John Mulaney, give me that jukebox money. Rock Lobster. I'm sorry. How do people like the B-52s, man?
I don't know. How do you make an entire career out of just saying words in funny tones? Well, I guess you sort of do that, Tony.
Rock Lobster. I digress. Let's see. We got Mark the Cat Whisperer. I got time maybe for one or two more. My 4-year-old daughter asked me, what is even the point of boys? All they do is play, and I'm still working on my response. Because it is true, you know? That doesn't change, sweetheart. It doesn't change.
Nope.
And we'll close on a funny note, and then we'll be done with this segment because it's always a good one. And there's a lot I could always go through. Marcy G says, my toddler asked me to give her chicken nuggets a checkup. After giving all the nuggets a medical exam, I realized my toddler was asking for ketchup. Not checkup.
Not a checkup.
Yeah. Oh, kids, man, they do say the damnedest things.
That they do. Well, folks, that does it for Silly Rabbit. This bit is for kids. When we come back, we've got our next segment. I've got a bad feeling about this. I've got a great feeling about the segment. But regardless, come back. We'll see you guys in a few.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you? texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. We're heading into the final segment of the first hour of this episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show for Monday, November 16th. But don't fret, we still got plenty ahead with our second hour, including our interactive portion of the show. Today's topic is in real life celebrity encounters. However, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, well, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, about 20 in all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review, let us know what you think, and tell your friends, because sharing is caring. Now in this segment, which we've titled,
I got a bad feeling about this.
We're talking about premonitions. Tony, have you ever had a premonition that something was going to go bad? Just something in your gut, maybe not a Final Destination type premonition, but just something that wasn't going to go right. You decided not to do it or whatever it is, and then come to find out that if you had gone through with whatever it was, it would not have worked out so well for you.
Oh, I'm sure I have. Usually I would always tie it. I work so much. It's usually with work. You're like, oh God, it's going to be one of those days. But as far as bad things where actually, yes, I do have one. And I don't mean it to be like tragic or anything. So didn't have a bad feeling about it, but kind of got, so it's not really a premonition. It was the night of the Luxor, or that shooting in Vegas from Mandalay Bay. We were actually supposed to fly into Las Vegas that night, and that big shooting happened, and we were actually staying right over there at the Luxor, and we didn't know what was going on. It was just we were woken up to a, Mike woke us up and was like, hey, there's something weird going on in Vegas, and he even says, like, I have a weird feeling. I don't know what the hell is going on. Well, it turns out the shooting, now we actually should have been there. We were going to take an earlier flight that would have gotten us there. So kind of just weird how that worked out, but that's probably the only like real big thing like that we ended up not taking that flight. That's, I guess, kind of the thing. We didn't have a weird premonition. We were just like, nah, let's just get our sleep. We'll take the flight in the morning versus the night flight. So had we taken the night flight, we would have been flying in right during all that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And who would have known how that would have panned out? Now, speaking of flights, a friend of ours, Darren, back in 2011. So here in Northern Nevada, we have the Reno Air Races. Great event, happens every year. They've got everything from, classic World War II planes to, army demonstrations to the actual air races themselves. In any case, in 2011, he was there with his family, and they're sitting there, and he goes, you know what? Let's take off. You know, I'm not feeling good. Let's get out of here, and something's just not right. Well, he gathers up his family, they take off. Well, not 20 minutes after they leave was when the giant crash into the stands happened, and it happened to be right where he was sitting. So if he and his family were still sitting there, if he didn't get that weird feeling and take off, he wouldn't be here to talk about it today. So that's what we're talking about is...
That's crazy.
Yeah. People who've had premonitions, you know, whether it's life-saving or not, it's just a weird thing that happens.
I got a bad feeling about this.
For instance, this user, Robin Teresa, says, years ago, I was leaving work and stopped to say goodbye to my supervisor. She just stood there looking at me with a weird expression on her face for a moment before wishing me a good weekend. The next day, I got into a hit-and-run accident on my bike, but I wasn't too badly injured. When I went to give my paperwork to her, she said she knew that something bad was going to happen to me. She had tried to tell me to be careful that day, but physically could not. On top of that, my grandmother, who was on a vacation at that time, said she knew she shouldn't have gone because she had a feeling someone was going to be in an accident too. So yeah, it's... Again, if you have that feeling, maybe it's best to say something as opposed to, just sort of keeping it to yourself and then watching what happens in the aftermath. So moving on with...
I got a bad feeling about this.
Anonymous Flower Sig said, a few weeks before we were set to move into our new house, I had a dream that we were going to move into a different house that was bigger and better. I didn't believe it, though, because my dad was almost done buying the one we had seen. About a week later, the deal fell through and we started looking at houses again. Imagine my surprise when one of the houses we were shown was the exact one in my dream. I hadn't even been to that neighborhood before, so it wasn't like I dreamt something that I have seen. My dad, of course, ended up buying it. In that case, it worked out to be a good thing. So I don't know about having a bad feeling. Nothing wrong with ending up with a bigger, better house, especially if it's something that comes to you in a dream.
Yeah, that's crazy too. I always used to have this weird dream of this house that I used to go to as a kid. It would show up in all my dreams. It was really weird. So for a while when I'd go home to Carson, I'd always drive by the house and I'd kind of stare at it. And I'm like, what is the significance of this house? It hasn't appeared in a long time, but man, it was like the Elm Street house, man.
Right.
That damn thing would show up all the time. I was always there. Mike, he did text me during, and he said he woke up and had a really weird feeling that night that something was wrong after only an hour of sleep. Then he turned on the news to see where it was happening, and we happened to be right there. So Mike had a bad feeling about that, whereas I just kind of woke up to it, and I was like, and that was the crazy thing, that we all talked about taking that earlier flight that night, and we were just like, nah, we already paid for the hotel. We were being kind of cheap, because it's like we had the itch to get to Vegas to go have a fun weekend, but we had already paid for this hotel by the airport. So we kind of just like, we'll just take the flight. But we talked about taking that 10 o'clock one. And, it's crazy to see that Mike had a bad feeling about that, because that was such a weird night. It was a fun night for us, but it was weird. And then it was devastating. And you know what? Vegas has been kind of cursed for me ever since. Every Vegas trip I've planned since then has fallen through. There's been something that's caused it not to happen.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you guys didn't take that flight that night. But continuing on with...
I got a bad feeling about this.
You have user Amana Masir 06 says, when I was 13...
Amana Marth?
Yeah.
The Vikings break the shield. Oh, Allah.
Yeah, I don't think they're chiming in on BuzzFeed. But in any case, when I was 13, I had dreamt that I was in a random trailer park when a tornado hit. Everything went berserk and I woke up really sick. It was around 4 a.m. and I ended up going to the hospital. That night, I turned on the news in the hospital room and learned there was a super bad tornado at a trailer park in Illinois. Since then, I've had other weird premonitions, several hinting at a pandemic, but only when I'm sick. And too bad Amana Marth couldn't give us a heads up on what was going on today.
Yeah, there you go, you Viking. I like the word berserk.
Yeah.
It's just great, Me for love that clock, because I had to censor it. Berserker, would you like to? Berserker.
Thank you for keeping
metal. Grows like metal.
Thank you for keeping it PG-13, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy.
All right,
I just went silent.
let's move on with.
I got a bad feeling about this.
A couple years ago, I had lunch with my sister and our friend. Let's call him Dan. I left to go to the bathroom, came back and said, Dan, so what was with this you were saying about your wife being pregnant? I thought you guys didn't want to have any more kids. They looked at me like I was bat-S crazy. Apparently, we were not having this discussion, but I swear to God, we were before I left the table. A couple weeks later, my boyfriend at the time got a call from Dan saying his wife was pregnant.
Ooh.
And obviously, it doesn't sound like it was planned.
I didn't know you were going to hit a soundbite at the same time, too. Because I don't
right.
have that awesome, scary one. The dun, dun, dun. So,
And it's funny because
I had just the humorous Price is Right one.
Depending on who you are talking to, a pregnancy is a good thing. In this case, she had a...
I got a bad feeling about this.
All right.
Well, maybe next time you should wrap that rascal, young lady.
Right. All right. Let's close things out with Isoka says, my family planned to go to a hotel for the weekend when my dad said we shouldn't because something bad was going to happen. He had a dream that I died, but my ghost was still hanging around there. My mother decided we were going anyway because it was just a bad dream. That weekend, I got stuck underwater and pretty much drowned. I wasn't breathing and my heart stopped. I woke up on the way to the hospital. Ooh, that is quite freaky.
Drowning, one of the worst, one of my biggest fears was to go.
Yep. Yeah, no thank you. But what is a yes thank you is we still have an hour ahead. So when we come back, we have our interactive portion of the show, In Real Life Celebrity Encounters. Folks, don't go anywhere. Take a potty break, listen to the news.
Potty!
We'll see you guys in about 7 minutes. You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. To explore our complete lineup, head over to phoenixmedia.us or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Rebecca Foster.
U.S. company Moderna says its COVID-19 vaccine is almost 95% effective. It's the latest positive news in the race for a vaccine, following Pfizer's announcement last week of a 90% effective injection. Our U.S. correspondent Nick Harper reports.
The U.S. trial saw 15,000 people given the vaccine, another 15,000 a placebo with no effect. Moderna then monitored the first 95 people to develop symptoms, of which just 5 had been given the vaccine. However, the company concluded its vaccine was 94.5% effective. It's the second US vaccine with a very high success rate, following the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine which published results last week, both relying on technology that activates the body's immune system to create antibodies to fight the virus.
Talks on a future trading relationship between the UK and the EU post-Brexit continue this week as the clock continues to tick until the end of the transition period. Lord David Frost is in Brussels for another round of negotiations ahead of a European Council video summit on Thursday, which has been touted as a deadline for a draft deal. Lucy Hoff has more from Brussels.
This is being billed as a crunch week for the negotiations, which have stalled on 3 major stumbling blocks: fishing rights, how any deal would be enforced, and the level playing field, the UK's willingness to sign up to EU rules on state aid, environment and labour standards. The two teams are meeting again in Brussels this week with a slightly more positive assessment at the end of last week's round of talks in London. There is a sense from the EU side that the UK is becoming slightly more open to compromise in some of the key areas. The election of Joe Biden to the White House and the departure of Boris Johnson's key Brexiteer aide, Dominic Cummings, puts more pressure on the UK Prime Minister to reach a deal with just days remaining.
Hospital beds in Russia's COVID-19 treatment centers are full to 84% of capacity on average, according to the country's health minister. Mikhail Murashko says that number is closer to 90% in more than half of Russia's regions. FSN's Julia Chapman reports from Moscow.
Russia's health minister says 263,000 hospital beds are occupied by coronavirus patients, a number which is continuing to rise. The country's main treatment center for COVID-19 in Moscow is already completely full. Mikhail Murashko said more than 500,000 doctors are involved in treating COVID-19 patients across the country. On Monday, Russia reported a record 22,778 new cases of coronavirus.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this!
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Welcome back, folks, to the second hour of the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is Monday, November 16th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Still joined by my co-host, Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, it looks like you got your smoothie back in the nick of time. And, yeah.
That was the fastest 7-minute break. Like, I didn't do anything different than I normally do to make a smoothie. And then all of a sudden... because I go downstairs and all I have is my earbuds in so I can hear when the music kicks on or you'll give me a text. Well, I replied to like one message, made the smoothie, and then all of a sudden the music kicked on. I go, is this a mistake? And I looked, I go, holy crap, where did time go? But then again, it's like everything this morning. I kind of feel it's not a bad thing. You typically want your day, if you're working, you're entertaining, if it's going by quick, either time's just you're just not noticing, or I don't know. It's just going fast. Now I need that premonition for my other job later. I need it to go just as fast, if not faster than this.
Well, I'll keep you in mind for my premonitions and spiritual will to go out.
That's 9.5 hours on paper. Oh, buddy, that does not sound enticing at all.
No, and with as fast as the 7 minutes went, 9.5 hours, unfortunately, will not go that fast.
No.
But folks, we are here now. It is all about you. This is the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and the watchers, which is why we prompt you to call in the day before with the call-in topic of the day. To the Fenix Line. Fenix Line is 855 Fenix Radio. That's 855 FENIX RDO or 855 336 4973. Today we are talking about in real life celebrity encounters. Now, Tony, I know you've had your fair share. Any particular story you want to share of a celebrity encounter you had that was either just amusing or inspirational or anything at all?
Yeah, absolutely. The very first celebrity I actually ever encountered, and I've probably told this on the show at some point, was Kenny Loggins. And I was at the Reno airport and ran into my one of my best friends at the time, Andrew Nixon's mom. She was like... she was right in front of me, and she turned around. She goes, or a couple people in front of me. Ironically enough, I ran into her and her husband, Dennis, and we were talking. And then she goes, "Oh my God, do you know?" She goes, "I cannot believe who's right behind you." And I said, "Oh, well, who's behind me?" And I look. She goes, "It's Kenny Loggins," and he's staring at us. And obviously, he hears her say, "It's Kenny Loggins," and I just go, "The Footloose guy?" Like, instead of. Like, I know he sings Danger Zone. He sang a lot of 80s soundtrack stuff, and he's just like, "Hey, how's it going?" and that was it. So I met Kenny Loggins. He was literally right behind me. That was my first one. Probably the coolest celebrity I've ever met, though, that a lot of people don't know, and I don't know if you can see on the screen. I will point. It's very tiny. There's a picture of me and a celeb right there. One of the coolest ones I ever met was Kevin Smith, Silent Bob. Michael and I went down and we went to go see his, I guess it's not really a comedy stand-up. He just does a show and he kind of does comedy, but there's other things he talks about and stuff. It's just like an evening with Kevin Smith.
It's a live podcast, basically.
Yeah. So we went, we watched it, and at the end, we kind of were like, we should wait a couple minutes and just see if maybe we encounter him. And you know what? We totally did. He came out this back alley door. We saw him. He was super nice to us. Like, he was not weirded out that we had crossed. We're like, hey, Kevin, how's it going? He goes, hey, fellas, how are you doing? And like, Michael had a Dogma DVD, a special edition, ready to go just in case we met Kevin. He signed it, and, he took pictures with us. And he was the nicest guy. It was just me, Michael, and like 2 other people. Like, no one else waited for Kevin or anything like that. And we took it by chance. We're like, maybe we'll get to meet Silent Bob. He was such a big, one of my favorites. He still is. But in the late 90s with the View Askew thing, man, I lived by those movies. So to meet Kevin Smith and for him to actually be super cool, he was very nice, not annoyed with us. He hung out, signed autographs. He shot the breeze. He talked. He told us stories. And he was saying how he just was excited to see that's when The Last Jedi was coming out.
Okay.
So he's like, I hadn't seen The Last Jedi yet. So if you effers, if any of you saw that movie, don't spoil that for me. He goes, I need to go see that, S. And he was off to go see it. So real cool experience. So I'd say Kevin Smith was probably my favorite celebrity encounter that I've had.
Yeah, he's always very gracious. I've seen him a couple times, and always hangs out, takes time to chat, and I think he's kind of like us. Just grew up a fan of things, and then realized that when he became famous, he wasn't going to be one of those jerks who brushes people off. He's going to take time and hang out with the fans that were fans of his, and so super cool, super gracious guy. But we're going to do this. We're going to head into our break, giving you guys the chance to chime in with your in real life celebrity encounters on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Just click into the live video and comment there. And when we come back, I will share one of my celebrity encounters. So folks, don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's all about you. See you guys in just a few.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you. Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m. and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver,
but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Monday, November 16th. We are smack dab in the middle of our call-in topic, the interact portion of the show, where we want to hear from you guys. Go ahead and head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Phoenix with an F, Radio, of course, with an R. Click into the live video and comment in there with your real-life celebrity encounters. Now, before the break, we got Tony's run-in with Kevin Smith. Ended up being a cool guy. I've got countless stories that I could give. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Southern California. I worked for a car company that had me dealing with a lot of celebrities, but this one story in particular has nothing to do with that. It was actually at an Applebee's in Orange County and had to use the restroom. Got up, went into the men's restroom, and for the ladies out there, the men's restroom is typically a quiet zone. There's not a lot of chit-chat going on. You walk up to the urinal, you're not talking with the person next to you, unless, it's somebody you know, a friend, whatever it might be, but certainly not strangers. In any case, standing up there at the urinal, doing my business, and somebody walks up to the urinal to the right of me. Take a glance over, and it happens to be Slayer guitarist Kerry King, which Kerry King, if you've ever seen him, is one of the scariest looking human beings on earth. He is a giant, bald,
It's funny, you can't see it, but I even have a picture of him where you'd have to really zoom in. He's where my finger is. I actually got him on my wall right there.
Very cool. He's got this giant beard, and then he has this tattoo that runs from his hand all the way up his arm to the back of the neck into the back of his head. And, again, scary looking dude, peeing next to him at the urinal. Look over him, I'm like, holy crap, Kerry King. And of course, I say this out loud. He looks over, just sort of a side glance, and I go, big fan. He gives me a little bit of a nod. We finish our business, head out, wash our hands, of course, go back, and then a couple minutes later, I'm sitting there, and the waitress brings over a beer and says, it's from the guy over here at the bar. Look up, and Kerry King, holds up his beer, gives me a little nod, and basically bought a fan a beer and never said a single word.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah. That was.
I forgot all about that story because you have met a ton. Me being one of your best friends, I've heard a lot of stories and I forgot about that one. That was a good one.
Yeah. So meeting the guitarist to Slayer at an Applebee's in Orange County. Hard to top that one, but you guys can certainly try. We do want to hear from you, so go ahead and comment right now on our live Facebook video. Tony, anybody chime in on your end?
Yeah, I actually got quite a few here.
Very cool.
Lacey said at a festival in Kansas City, the lead singer of The Used, and that's a rock band for those that don't know, walked by. Michael jumped up and ran. While Bert was singing whatever he was singing, my cool, calm, collected husband looked at him and said, "I effing love you, man." So that was pretty cool. And then Mike chimed and said, "I always like to retell Lacey about the time I met Terry Bradshaw. Anytime we see Terry Bradshaw on anything, because I met Terry bleeping Bradshaw."
He'd be a hoot to have a conversation with, too.
Oh, wouldn't he, though? He'd be so cool. I know my friend Annie would be jealous on that one. Lacey, when she was 15, she told country singer Linda Davis that she got her hair cut like her and hadn't done her hair like that day, so it looked terrible. Okay.
All right.
That's a good one, though. Michael got a piggyback ride from the lead singer of Alabama when he was a kid. I remember him telling me that story. That's pretty cool.
I remember
Hey,
Alabama.
kiddo, you want a piggyback ride? Then Mike says, remember that time we met Volbeat? Just take the picture. Yes, I remember Thomas, the unibrow. Was very pissed. I tried to get a picture with him, and the camera wouldn't work. Just take the picture. They also, this one made me laugh actually when they texted this while we were doing one of the segments earlier. They did meet Rob Zombie. This was in Kansas City. It was an infamous concert show. Rob Zombie gave them S, so poop, basically, for being at the show for Volbeat. He was giving him a hard time for wearing the Volbeat shirt and stuff. And then he kept telling them they're not here. So, and then this was the funny. Lacey follows up and says, when they met Rob Zombie and John 5, they asked them to do Devil's Rejects, and he said Gingerfish doesn't know. He doesn't know how to play the song Devil's Rejects because Gingerfish, I guess, had just joined the band at the time. And then they both said F Gingerfish. And of course, Bella, my niece, she met country singer legend Bill Anderson. And they're actually, he knows exactly who she is. She's followed Bill Anderson since she was a young kid, and he sends her things, albums, autographs.
Really?
They were on a cruise, and he's like, I know this young lady. He's brought her up, and it's really cool. And I like to tease Bella. I'm like, oh, so Bill Anderson, huh? She's like, stop. Don't stop.
I don't even know who Bill Anderson is, so very cool.
Man, Bill Anderson, dude, he's tight with Taylor Swift. I always try to get Bella to ask her friend Bill if Bill could like hook up Taylor's phone number for Uncle Tone. I've tried this. It has not worked.
It hasn't happened yet? Oh.
No, I've reached out. I've put it out there in the universe. I've tried to put a premonition that I'll get to hang with Tay-Tay, you know.
Well, and even if it didn't work out, maybe you get a song written about you.
That's the goal, man. To go through the journey. I don't know if it's a week journey of dating, but I'm cool with that, you know.
Exactly.
I just want her to write my name.
Now, folks, we still have about 5 minutes left. So if you do want to chime in on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio, go ahead and let us know what your in real life celebrity encounters are. Now, again, I could go on for days, but you know what? I want to save this material for later on because we may revisit it. So in the meantime, I've got a list here of people who have had their in real life celebrity encounters. For instance, this person who said they were doing lines with Rob Lowe. Not those kinds of lines, though. My parents were on vacation in Sardinia and staying at the same hotel as Rob Lowe. My mom saw him in the cabana next to theirs where he was practicing lines off a script. She went up to him to ask if he needed help learning his lines, and to her surprise, he said yes. My mom left my dad alone for hours during their romantic vacation to help Rob Lowe. Afterwards, he invited them and our entire family to see his play, which the script was for. My mom still talks about it to this day. That's kind of a cool encounter. You know, it's one thing just to say you're a fan, but to actually help somebody out and help them learn their lines, that's sort of taking that to the next level.
Yeah, that's really cool. What a dream come true. That's an opportunity right there.
Yeah.
Especially that's a nice shot in the dark. You know what I mean? That's a swing for the fences. You know, it's like I told our friend Denny when we were in Disney World, the YouTube, which a lot of YouTubers know him. Tim Tracker, he's a big Disney guy. And obviously that was the big thing. Everyone wanted to see Tim Tracker that night at Disney World. We knew he was there. And Denny was hesitant to go talk to. He's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, dude, just go ask him if you can go take a picture with him. Like, the worst thing he tells you is no.
Right.
That's it. He'll just tell you nah. But, you know, he did, and what a fun, memorable night for all of us, you know. I mean, I'm not the biggest Tim Tracker fan. Like, I watch his videos and stuff, but, you know, it is cool because You know, like my cousin's a big Tim Tracker guy. So when I was like, well, my friends have been in his videos, and she's like, really? So,
well, and that's the thing, you know,
it's a big thing in the Disney community, man.
What might be a huge celebrity to one person is a complete unknown to somebody else. And so, you know, those levels of excitement, you know, they run the gamut of, you know, being able to have a casual conversation with someone to, I like your work. You know, just not knowing what to say to a celebrity. Even
it was kind of like when we were in high school and you had the opportunity to go meet Static X. Like that was probably you before you met any celebrities. That was like your thing. And I remember, like, you know, like, oh my gosh, what do you do? I remember you being so excited. That was a world of where phones were just now coming out, and texting was like wasn't what it was. You had to have it down like, okay, I have to hit the 1 3 times. I have to, you know.
That sucked.
Pain in the ass, yeah.
Yeah. But then being around so many of them over the years, it's one of those things where, you know, I don't ask for autographs. I don't ask for selfies. It's just, you know, they're trying to live their lives, and, you know, they get that all day, every day. So to me, it's just like, you know what, I'd rather remember the experience of meeting them than actually, you know, trying to get any of those things from them.
Right. I don't usually go for the autograph. I do go for the picture because I like to have that. You never know. One day this old noggin might shut off. So it's good to have things like that. Then, you know, it's a good conversation piece on my little geeky table over here. It's me and Kevin.
Moving on with in real life celebrity encounters, you have this lady who put, I was at a party in West Hollywood and bumped into Miley Cyrus in the bathroom. She was fixing her skirt and lifted it up to fix her underwear, inevitably showing her butt. When she looked at me, she laughed and said, "What? It's not like you haven't seen it before." Yeah, it's true. I think we all have.
That's pretty damn funny.
And then I think we've got time for one more. This person who had a run-in with, well, Gary Busey, said, went to karaoke one night at Cafe Habana in Malibu, and I was trying to leave the DJ booth where the song selection book was. Gary Busey cornered me and said, "You will never sing Garth Brooks again," and wouldn't leave me until I agreed. I mean, that sounds about as Gary Busey as you can get. If he doesn't like
with the big teeth, the wild hair, he is a trip, man.
Oh, I would not want to be cornered by Gary Busey. Who knows
No, me either. Actually, Gary Busey's the one where I would just keep going. I wouldn't attempt to talk to Gary Busey.
No, not so much.
I'm such a jerk.
Well, folks, that does it for the interactive portion of today's show, where we were talking about...
Interactive.
I know. In real life celebrity encounters. Tomorrow we've got gaming on the go. That could be on the go if you're going to the bathroom or if you're headed out. What's the best mobile game that you're playing right now? So it should be a lot of fun. Folks, when we come back, we've got our a recurring segment. Whatever happened to the cast of... Well, you got to come back to find out. So, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke. When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is Monday, November 16th. Now we talk about it a couple times each show. It is the Fenix Line. It is a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. It's a voicemail. You know how it works. You leave a message after the beep. Don't even have to worry about human interaction. For instance, maybe you want to share your in-real-life celebrity encounter, or you want to chime in for tomorrow's call-in topic, which is gaming on the go. What's the best mobile game that you are playing right now? And of course, you have the added bonus if you do call in and chime in for that. You are entered in to win our Fenix Fan Gear monthly giveaway, where we will pull a name from somebody who has chimed in and provide you guys with some Fenix fan gear, a Fenix hat, a Fenix shirt, maybe some other odds and ends, some little goodies. But in any case, the number for the Fenix Line is 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We will compile those together and put them out in a future show. Now, next up, we've got a new installment of something we've been doing here recently. Whatever happened to the cast of, and in today's case, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent!
Obviously, Bill and Ted 3, Face the Music, came out recently. Tony and I are both of the same mind that didn't really live up to the previous two. Maybe it was just too long between sequels. It wasn't great. You know, we watched it to the end just to say we watched it, but it is one of those movies that we probably would have 20-minute ruled had it been anything else. But you know what? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was a fantastic movie. We all know what happened to Keanu Reeves. He's had a huge career, but the rest of the cast, you know, they've fallen into a little bit of obscurity, and so I wanted to go through what happened to them. Tony, real quick, your thoughts on Bill and Ted 3?
Man, I think when I went into it, I kind of knew it wouldn't be. I was worried it was going to fall into the Dumb and Dumber 2, and you know, a lot of these sequels that wait too damn long to do it, and then when it happens, it just kind of falls flat. So I went in with a little low expectations, but I really was annoyed by some of it. Like, was there funny parts? Yeah, there was some good cameos in there, like the Dave Grohl part was great. There was some good things about it, but I really just felt like they did the old adage. They took familiar characters, a familiar story, threw in the fact they had kids to kind of branch off so they could make it a new franchise for today, but they needed to bridge the gap. They did the whole Force Awakens things. They recycled the story of one, elements of two, and tried to put it together for this third one. And for the world's greatest song to unite everybody, it was not a good song.
It wasn't great.
Just, I didn't like it. I really did not like it.
Well, if you guys skip that one, that's fine. You can always go back and watch the original. Of course, Keanu Reeves played Ted Theodore Logan, but your other main character, Bill, as Bill S. Preston Esquire, was played by Alex Winter. Now, Bill may not have become as famous as his bandmate Ted, but Alex Winter has certainly carved out an interesting career for himself. Before he met Napoleon and made friends with Abe Lincoln, Winter was possibly better known actor than Reeves, having performed on Broadway as a child and starred in the hit 1987 dark vampire comedy The Lost Boys. That's the one I really remember him from. Following his excellent adventure, Winter shifted his film aspirations from in front of the camera to behind it. He wrote and directed comedies like The Idiot Box, as well as the 1993 cult film Freaked and the 1999...
That's a weird movie, man. There was this scene in there where Gumby is doing this adult activity, and then he's like, "I'm almost done, Pokey!" And it was funny. And I remember that as a kid, and I didn't know what the hell he was doing until I was older. I go, "Holy crap, Gumby was he was pulling a Herman." You know what I mean? If you know, you know. There's just kids watching, so I'm not gonna say what it is. I don't want no parents to have to explain what the hell that Gumby is doing.
I forgot about that. He also directed the 1999 psychological thriller Fever before turning his attention to documentaries. He's found plenty of success there with 2012's Downloaded, chronicling the history of file-sharing program Napster. He dipped his toe back into acting with a small role in the 2013 film Grand Piano, starring Elijah Wood and John Cusack. And then 2015 saw him direct Deep Web, a documentary exploring the internet drug trade, Bitcoin, and digital rights, narrated by none other than Keanu Reeves. So it sounds like he's had a good career behind the camera. Not so much in front of it.
He recently did a child star documentary that was like within the last year, and it was actually really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It is on my list to watch, but there's so many things to try and catch up on.
And what's good too is just because he's behind it, it's not like he pours himself out to put it in. Like Freaked, he was the star in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but for the documentary, like I don't think he was in the documentary, like other than the fact that he just directed it. Like he never popped up in it. So
interesting. Yeah, worth checking out. Well, moving on with whatever happened to the cast of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent!
Probably the second biggest name to come out of that was stand-up comedian George Carlin as Rufus. Fun fact, James Bond might have played Rufus, a man from 2688 who traveled to San Dimas in 1988 to help Bill and Ted pass their history class. If he doesn't succeed, the pair won't form the band Wild Stallions, whose music somehow becomes the basis for the future Earth utopia Rufus calls home. Sean Connery was considered for the role, but it ended up going to legendary stand-up comedian George Carlin, thanks to the film's producers who had worked with him on 1987's Outrageous Fortune. Carlin is best known for his stand-up bit 7 Dirty Words, which was the subject of a Supreme Court case when it was broadcast by a radio station in New York. He worked steadily through the 1980s, producing new stand-up specials and albums. He eventually branched out into media, film, and television roles, which led him to Bill and Ted. Next, Carlin took over the role of Mr. Conductor from Ringo Starr on Shining Time Station, the show that gave us Thomas the Tank Engine. Well, I didn't know that. He left after 5 years to write and star in his own series, The George Carlin Show. He returned to stand-up tours due to tax issues and decision he would later say he was glad he had made, though it got off to a rough start. In 2004, a stint at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas led to Carlin berating his audience members so harshly all future shows were canceled, and Carlin entered rehab. The following year, he said in his ABO special, Life is Worth Losing, that he had 341 days sober. Following years of heart issues, George Carlin died of cardiac arrest at the age of 71. So a great comedian, obviously not without his issues, but probably one of the best of all time.
Yeah, I liked his cameos, like in the Kevin Smith movies, like especially Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, sure, you do it. If it gets you to the next step, I'm willing to do that. I'm not going to quote exactly what he said. The rules of the road will get you everywhere you go. Excuse me.
Moving on with whatever happened to the cast of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent!
Probably one of the best characters to come out of history was Napoleon. And of course, you have actor Terry Camilleri, who played that role. Of course, who could forget Terry Camilleri's comedic turn as Napoleon in Bill and Ted 3. Now, Camilleri had bit parts in both films and television before his stint in San Dimas, showing up briefly in Superman 3 and Hill Street Blues. Following his work in Bill and Ted, he continued that trend with parts in NYPD Blue, The Truman Show, and Jag. His comedic chops came in handy when he played another historical figure, namely history itself, in a series of Nike adverts tied to the 2006 FIFA World Cup featuring Australian player Joga Bonito. More recently, he's guest starred on the Western crime drama Longmire, which was canceled by A&E following the end of its third season, but found a second life on Netflix. He also had a role in Oddball and the Penguins, a film based on a real dog who saved a penguin colony. Camilleri is very active on Facebook and posted a picture of him hanging out with the former co-star Alex Winter in 2017. So good to see that Napoleon's still getting work.
Well, I didn't even realize he was in the third one. That's how much I paid attention.
Maybe he had just a brief little cameo.
If he was, I missed it. But then again, most of the other people, other than Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, man, I didn't even recognize, but Death, William Sadler's Death, obviously him.
Right,
but
Die Hard 2.
Everybody else, I was just kind of like, huh?
Yeah. And I'm going to post this on our Facebook page so you guys can catch up with all of the actors that were in there. But you know what? Let's close out with my favorite of the princesses, Kimberly Cates as Princess Elizabeth. Now, Kimberly Cates was lured to Hollywood at the age of 19 after winning a modeling contest. She'd previously been studying pre-med. Playing the part of Princess Elizabeth in Bill and Ted was actually her first film role, and she said she lacked the confidence she would develop in later years. Like her fellow Princess Joanna, Cates primarily worked in television following Bill and Ted, performing guest roles on some of the most beloved shows of the 1990s, Seinfeld, The Wonder Years, The Larry Sanders Show, and Charmed. In the early 2000s, she moved into film development, and by 2005, she'd become vice president of Big Screen Entertainment Group. The company started out as a production company, and then I created a distribution division, Kate said in 2015. These efforts led her to become CEO of the company. One of her early production credits for Big Screen was 2006's Forget About It. The film starred Burt Reynolds as a man living in a retirement village who develops a crush on his neighbor, played by Raquel Welch, before discovering a stash of mob money. So it sounds like she's had quite the career, but like I said, I'm going to post this up. It covers all of the major actors and characters that they played.
She even did an interview on Jimmy's show on Pop Culture Kaboom.
That she did. So that one's worth going back and checking out and finding out more about whatever happened to the cast of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent!
Now, folks, when we come back, we are headed into the fourth and final segment of the second hour of the show. That means it's time for This Day in History. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks, to the fourth and final segment of the show. Not before we drop a little knowledge, hopefully make you chuckle at the same time with this day in history. However, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us. Click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix radio show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
Okay.
I don't know if an umka gets you a yay or nay, but of course.
I think
we're a god.
Okay is okay.
Folks, is okay.
While you are there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think. And tell your friends, because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Folks, as we do each and every day, we're going to drop a little knowledge on you, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. It is time for This Day in History.
Crossing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
Thank you, Siri. All right, this day in the year 13, yes, just 13,
Well, it was a great year. It was the 13th year.
It was. General James Tiberius Kirk, just General Tiberius, his triumphant procession through Rome after the siege of Germany. I didn't even realize that Germany was a unified country at that point, but apparently it was. And that's where Captain Kirk got his middle name from, was General Tiberius.
There you go.
This day in 1532, let's see if I can try and avoid Filippoing these.
Yeah.
Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro captures Inca Emperor Atahualpa after a surprise ambush at Cajamarca in Peruvian Andes. It seems like just a lot of...
It sounded like you did pretty good.
I think I did all right.
I think you did all right with that. You didn't chupa the burrow there, buddy.
Yeah. Moving on, this day in 1581, Tsar Ivan the Terrible attacks his son and heir Ivan Ivanovich with a scepter after an argument leading to the latter's death 3 days later. Boy, no wonder he has the nickname Ivan the Terrible.
You don't like me? Down! You dented my scepter, you son of a bitch.
And
That's so violent.
I know.
I bet he wishes he had a time machine, so, like he could look. He knew what time travel was to go back and not hit his son with a scepter.
And of all names, Ivanovich. That'd be like Tony.
Ivan Ivanovich, my dad's Ivan the Terrible. He hit me in the head here with a scepter. That's why I have this big knot. This knot's like the size of New York. It's huge.
That'd be like having the name Anthony Antonovich.
Yes, my name is Anthony Antonovich Sanfilippo the third, the fourth, the fifth, and maybe the sixth.
Yeah, not a whole lot of imagination going into naming your kids there.
No, it's like George Foreman names every kid George.
Right.
Just name George.
Moving on, this day in 1835, extracts from Letters to Henslow, a collection of letters written by Charles Darwin during his voyage on the Beagle, is published. And I think we found out early on that the Beagle was the name of his ship, not a gigantic beagle that he could ride.
Beagle.
Even though
I just picture Carl Winslow riding a giant beagle during that story. Did I do that? Just kidding. I know Urkel didn't do that, but I did picture Carl Winslow on there.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. Moving on, this day in 1901, Booker T. Washington and his family are invited to dine at the White House with Teddy and Edith Roosevelt, prompting the condemnation from the South. And God forbid that Booker T. Washington was a black man being invited to dinner at the White House.
We'll see a five-time WCW champion, Booker T, sucker.
Different Booker T.
Can you dig it?
Somehow I knew you were going there with that one.
Yeah. Well, at least I didn't quote his famous line that he accidentally slipped. Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you. Bleep.
This day in 1922, Ottoman Caliph Sultan Mehmed VI asked the British Army for help. Boy, that was
Do it.
My name's Jeff.
My name's Khalif. I didn't mean to do it. Scared me. My thumb hit that. Do it.
Marking the
My name is Khalif.
Marking the end of the Ottoman Empire. I had a furniture joke in there, but I screwed up that whole thing in there. So I'm not even going to go there.
Do it. Sure. Oh.
This day in 1939, Al Capone is freed from Alcatraz jail. He didn't even have the help of Sean Connery.
Yeah, see, my name's Al Capone. Yeah, one day Geraldo's gonna expose my vault. See, and also gonna find us a jar of pickles. See, I'm gonna get the hell off this rock without Sean Connery. See, you'll never take me alive, copper.
Meh.
Meh.
This day in 1948, probably one of the most, in retrospect, racist names for a operation. Operation Magic Carpet begins with the first plane from Yemen carrying Jews to Israel.
Oof. Yeah, that's little of the races. Who wants to ride the magic carpet? We're riding, baby. It's not like Aladdin, though. This magic carpet's not as cute.
This day in 1957, American murderer and body snatcher Ed Gein kills his last victim. And if I remember correctly, his was the basis for the Amityville Horror and I want to say Friday the 13th.
Really? Yeesh.
Yeah.
Ed Gein, Psycho.
Oh, and Psycho. That was the other one. So It wasn't one of those other ones, but Psycho was one of those.
That's crazy. Yeah, wow. Isn't it weird sometimes, like, people get the basis, like, the inspiration based off real things? Like, yeah, that was real. We could kind of go that way, but we'll take it this way.
Well, and that's the thing. That's when reality can be stranger and, in some cases, scarier than fiction.
Right.
All right. Moving on, this day in 1962, Wilt Chamberlain of the NBA San Francisco...
Wilt the Stilt!
San Francisco Warriors score 73 points versus the New York Knicks. Of course, they later became the Golden State Warriors, not so much.
Yeah, which is crazy. They should have just kept it San Francisco. I never really thought about that, but when you hear the Golden State Warriors, like, it's a cool name, but the fact is when you really think about it for professional sports, everybody's got like either a city or a state name for their team. And while they say Golden State, like it's not obviously a real state name or a city name. So
right, it's the state nickname.
If you play in the heart of San Francisco, they're right down by AT&T Park and their new compact center there. And yeah. I kind of like the ring of that, the San Francisco Warriors. I would probably go with that because it's weird. They're still San Francisco 49ers, but they don't play in San Francisco. They play in Santa Clara.
Right.
That's weird.
Sports.
It's weird.
Moving on this day in 1979, Paul McCartney releases probably his biggest standalone single, Wonderful Christmas, which obviously we're getting into the Christmas holidays now, and you will hear that.
It's a wonderful Christmas. Christian's going to put us on this day in history one day.
And
be a hit.
We're going to hear that one over and over and over and over again.
It's a wonderful Christmas. You and me.
This day in 1988, Robin Givens sues Mike Tyson for $125 million for libel.
Spinal. Yeah, the spinal. Broke my back. So I didn't touch her. That's crazy. I had a tiger and, she wanted it.
Yeah, he had
that downfall with Robin Givens too. That's when Nintendo had to drop him as the spokesperson. They just re-released Mike Tyson's Punch Out as Punch Out because he was going through that big rape scandal and stuff. And obviously it turned out he didn't, right? Like he was never obviously one of those, like she eventually dropped it or something.
Yeah, but
it
was enough to sort of sully his name for a couple decades. So who knows what really happened? He probably didn't have the best past, and probably wasn't the nice guy.
If you would have told him at that time when he's going through rape, it's like, don't worry, Mike. One day you're going to be in this big hit movie called The Hangover. You're going to also have a animated series where you're a detective in a detective agency
with a pigeon sidekick.
With a pigeon sidekick, yeah.
And
you totally would believe that, right?
Right. And with the final minute, let's run down some of today's holidays before we let you go.
Holidays!
Today is National Loosen Up, Lighten Up Day.
Celebrate!
Today is National American Teddy Bear Day.
Ooh, get yourself a teddy bear, Baby Yoda.
National Family PJ Day.
Steven Tyler PJs. Steven Tyler PJs.
National Seatbelt Day. Always wear your seatbelt.
Always. But don't be a dummy. Buckle up.
National Spicy Guacamole Day, Operating Room Nurse Day, National Pickle Day, and Spirit of National Speakers Association Day, whatever that means. Folks,
pickles and speakers.
We will be back tomorrow on a Tuesday with Animal Tales as we do. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye-bye.